Good morning, distinguished delegates. I hereby open today's session of the United Nations General Assembly. Our primary agenda is the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Before commencing the main agenda, allow me to welcome and confirm the attendance of all distinguished delegation. I, Nurahmi Aziza, serving as the chairperson. I am honored to proceed over this important session. We have received confirmation of attendance from 12 member states. I will call upon the name of each country one by one. I kindly request the representative delegates to answer present and participating. Start from Australia, Netherlands, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, Croatia, United States of America, and Israel. I now invite the representative from Indonesia to deliver the opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. President. We want to draw the world attention to suffering of the Palestinian people in Gaza. The ongoing attack have caused numerous casualties and severe infrastructure damage. Families are being torn apart and children are losing their future. We call for international support to stop this violence and seek a peaceful solution.
Thank you. I now invite the representative from Israel to respond.
Thank you, Madam President. Israel is committed to protecting its citizens who are under constant threat. We urge the international community to understand the security challenge we face and to support our effort to achieve sustainable peace.
Thank you. We will now open the floor for discussion. Delegates who wish to speak, please raise your hand.
We support peace efforts in the region and encourage both parties to return to the negotiating table. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is unacceptable. We are ready to provide humanitarian aid and mediation to achieve a fair and peaceful solution.
We also call for immediate mediation of violence and support the two-state solution as the best path in lasting peace in the Middle East. The suffering of the Palestinian people must end now.
Our stance remains neutral. However, we consider humanitarian intervention and diplomatic engagement to be crucial elements in resolving this crisis. Both parties should prioritize the safety and well-being of civilian population as their foremost concern.
Indonesia frames its full support for the Palestinian people. The crisis in Gaza has violated international humanitarian law. Disproportionate attacks have killed thousands of civilians, including women and children. Indonesia calls for an integration, unified humanitarian access, and the acceleration of the implementation of the two-state solution. Palestine has the right to independence and equality security.
We fully support the struggle of the Palestinian people and call on the international community to take firm action to end the suffering in Gaza. The aggression must stop and justice must be upheld.
We express our solidarity with the Palestinian people and urge end to all acts of aggression along with the attainment of a just solution to the conflict. The international community must take action immediately.
We maintain a neutral stance, but stress the need for both sides to engage in dialogue and find a peaceful resolution. Violence is not the answer.
And we
United States, support Israel's right to defend itself, and call for a balanced approach that ensures the security of all parties involved. A peaceful resolution is essential for lasting stability.
We condemn the ongoing violence and urge both sides to seek a peaceful resolution through dialogue. The humanitarian impact is deeply concerning.
We reject all acts of violence and urge immediate humanitarian aid for the people affected in Gaza. The global community must unite to deliver assistance.
Thank you. We will now proceed with the Q&A session. Delegates who wish to ask questions, please raise your hand.
I would like to ask the representative from Israel, what concrete steps will be taken to ensure the protection of civilians in Gaza?
Thank you for the question. We are committed to minimizing civilian casualties and have taken measures to prevent warning before attacks. We also emphasize that terrorist group in Gaza cannot be ignored.
Indonesia stresses that the humanitarian situation in Gaza has reached an unacceptable level. Thousands have been displaced, hospitals are overwhelmed, and access to basic necessities remain restricted. Collective punishment violates international law.
I would like to ask the representative from the United States, what is your view on the two-state solution and how do you plan to support its implementation?
Okay, thank you, Malaysia. We support the two-state solution as the best path to achieving lasting peace. We encourage both parties to return to the negotiation table and seek a fair and peaceful solution. The United States is ready to facilitate dialogue and provide necessary support. That's
I would like to ask the representative from Turkey, how can the international community be more effective in supporting the Palestinian people?
Thank you for the question. We believe that the international community must intensify diplomatic and economic pressure on Israel to stop the ongoing aggression. In addition, increasing humanitarian assistance is crucial to supporting the Palestinian people. Concrete actions must take priority over mere statements.
With your permission, I would like to pose a question to the representative of Israel. What justification do you offer for maintaining the blockade on Gaza, which has resulted in shortages of essential supplies?
The blockade is necessary security measure to prevent the smuggling of weapons into Gaza. We are open to easing restrictions of the all guarantees that this place will not be used to launch rocket targeting civilians. No country would tolerate such aggression. Israel urges the assembly to recognize Israel.
Sorry, but security concerns cannot justify disproportionate military action. Civilians bear the greatest suffering. Netherlands urges this assembly to take a firm and united stance.
To the United States delegate, how do you balance your support for Israel's security with the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza?
okay. Thank you. We believe in Israel's right to defend itself, but we also recognize the need for humanitarian aid and protection of civilians. We are working with both sides to find a balanced approach that addresses security concerns and humanitarian needs.
To the representative of Israel, what steps are being taken to ensure the humanitarian aid can be delivered to those in need in Gaza?
We are coordinating with international organizations to facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid. We are committed to ensuring that aid reaches civilians and is not diverted for military use.
To the legate from Qatar, what role can regional organizations take in facilitating the resolution of this conflict?
Regional organizations can play a crucial role in mediating the conflict by providing a platform for dialogue and negotiation. They can also offer humanitarian assistance and support the reconstruction effort in Gaza.
Is there a possibility for countries in the region to form a cross-border humanitarian joint task force focused on medical evacuation? Australia is willing to contribute if such initiative is considered by the Assembly.
Qatar view the proposal in very positive state. We are ready to participate in joint humanitarian task force, especially in the focus in on medical evacuation, then protecting children. We only as the operator, the independent and not intervened with by armed party.
Japan does not reject the idea of humanitarian task force, but we need security guarantees. Medical evacuation must be carried out top priority table and monitored points to ensure that no dangerous materials are smuggled in. If the humanitarian mission is clear, we are ready to consider it.
Turkey welcomes the establishment of such a unit. We are ready to send medical personnel and logistics. The important thing is that access is not restricted, so that aid reaches those who really need it.
Sorry, Madam President. I would like to ask Qatar and Saudi Arabia whether the countries in the region are willing to provide political guarantee that humanitarian aid will not be misused by armed groups.
We are willing to provide political and technical guarantees in multi-layered verification system. However, these guarantees must embellish with lifting access reconstruction. I must not political or you just be blocked.
Saudi Arabia can give its full commitment that all aid will be distributed transparently, but we also ask Israel to step the obstacle that handle the distribution of aid. Supervision must be carried out by neutral party, not by one of the party involved in the conflict.
Okay, then Turkey is asking for clarity on the aid monitoring mechanism. If Israel continues to reject international monitoring, how can we ensure that aid reaches civilians and is not blocked at the border?
Israel does not reject international monitoring as long as the bodies involved are truly neutral. We have concern that some organizations are being asked to channel military material. The monitoring is carried out by United Nations recording agencies and conducted transparently. We can achieve it.
We want to reiterate that security argument should not to be used as an excuse to stop the supply of basic necessities. To the United States, are you willing to pressure Israel to consistently provide access to water and electricity?
Okay, thank you. We are engaged in intensive dialogue with Israel to improve access to basic necessities. We support the distribution of water, electricity, and other essential supplies as long as they do not threaten security. We do not reject diplomatic pressure, but the process must be balanced and based on security analysis in the front.
Israel has appeared several points of access to electricity and water on a routine basis, but we are also facing attacks targeting infrastructure. We are willing to cooperate this access immediately and not manipulated by armed groups.
Japan would like to seek clarification on the possibility of establishing a humanitarian buffer zone that would be off limits to military operation. Would both sides be willing to respect this is monitored by neutral observers?
We welcome the establishment of a humanitarian buffer zone. It is essential for the protection of civilians. As long as the zone is truly free of military activity and managed by neutral observers, we are ready to support it.
Israel may consider a humanitarian buffer zone as long as it is not used as a military effort of foreign armed groups. The neutral zone must be monitored 24 hours a day by an credible international body.
Croatia would like to ask whether the United Nations can establish a long-term investigative mechanism involving cross-regional experts to assess the impact of the conflict on the younger generation in Palestine and Israel.
Japan supports this idea. Long-term conflict have a profound impact on the psychology of the younger generation. We are willing to contribute funds and experts to reach the post-conflict impact.
I accuse. The United States is open to this mechanism as long as the investigation is conducted objectively and is not used to politically corner either side.
We are open to evaluating the impact of conflict on children, but we want to ensure that this mechanism is not manipulated for delegitimation campaigns.
Qatar would like to ask delegation, is it possible to draw a post-conflict recovery plan now so the people of Gaza have clear basis for reconstruction?
Indonesia fully supports the early preparation of a recovery plan. The reconstruction of Gaza must include education, housing, energy, and health service. Indonesia is ready to contribute through humanitarian effort and diplomatic channel.
We agree that recovery plan should be designed as early as possible. Australia stands ready to coordinate support for the rebuilding of civilian infrastructure.
With your permission, Netherlands would like to ask whether major countries are willing to temporarily halt arms exports to the parties involved until a full assessment of the impact on civilians has been carried out.
Okay, thank you. The United States is considering a comprehensive evolution of arms sales. However, a total halt must be analyzed based on the security needs of each country. We do not rule out the possibility of temporary restrictions if conditions on the ground deteriorate.
Israel cannot support stopping arms export to us because the threats we face are real and ongoing every day. However, we are operating the discussion on responsible use of weapons.
The suspension of arms exports is an important step towards reducing escalation. Turkey fully supports the Dutch proposal and urges major countries to demonstrate their commitment to humanity.
I agree with Turkey's statement, Madam Chair. Indonesia demands an immediate, permanent ceasefire. There is no justification for the scale of the massacre in Gaza. This is no longer war, but collective punishment and potential genocide. We reject the project of the right of self-defense when an aggressor occupies another country's territories.
Sorry. The United States recognizes the civilian suffering and we have provided sustained assistance. However, a permanent ceasefire at this time will only give victory to Hamas, a terrorist organization that kidnaps and kills innocent civilians. Israel has a fundamental right to defend itself. The solution must include the complete elimination of the Hamas threat, not a resolution that lowers them.
Madam Chair, Indonesia must directly address the United States statement claiming that ceasefire will only strengthen Hamas. This argument is sole justification for continuing the bloodshed. How can the survival of organization be used as a reason to allow children to starve and be born? The United Nations primary priority is civilian life, not military strategy. Why does the United States continue to provide vetoes that protect military operation yet hesitate to veto starvation and mass killing. We urge the United States spread humanitarian crisis from your war strategy. A safer is the first step toward peace, and your rejection makes you complicit in every subsequent indiscipline there.
Sorry, Madam President. We strongly reject the unfounded accusation from the Indonesian representative. The claim that we are complicit in civilian deaths is dangerous and unhelpful rhetoric. We have provided more humanitarian aid than any other nation in this room and are working daily to open corridors. Indonesia, focus on the complete picture. If you truly care about lives, demand Hamas surrender and lay down their weapons. Instead of demanding Israel allow them impunity, we will not support any resolution that guarantees the security of terrorists and threatens our ally. You seek political judgment. We seek a real end to terrorism.
We are forced the action. We face an enemy that hides beneath school and hospital. They are the ones violating the laws of war. The action of genocide level again us are against this line. We continue to work to free through history held by Hamas terrorists. The United States will focus solely beyond demanding the unconditional release of Hashtag and condemning terrorism, not limiting of efforts to protect our citizens.
Japan is deeply concerned about the escalation and its regional impact. We underscore the importance of full adherence to international humanitarian law by all parties. Our priority is increased humanitarian access and the protection of civilians. We are outside to show restraint and return to the negotiation table. Violence will not bring peace. The Netherlands believes that this conflict can only be solved through a just and sustainable two-state solution. We urge Israel to halt settlement expansion which undermines the prospects for that solution. Concurrently, we urge the Palestinian authorities to take firm steps against violence and ensure Israel's security. The United Nations must focus on post-conflict verification mechanisms to guarantee peace and security for both peoples.
I would like to remind everyone to use diplomatic language and focus on solution, not accusation that increase tension. The situation in Gaza is very serious, and this room must reflect responsibility, not divisive emotion. We will take a short break.
Thank you, Madam President. We appreciate your intervention. It is clear that the divergence of views in this room must not paralyze our actions. The Netherlands does not wish to dwell further in the war of rhetoric and accusation. Our focus must now move from emotion to practical implementation. We propose 3 immediate steps. First, accelerated aid inspection mechanism. The United Nations, together with regional partners such as Egypt and Jordan, must establish a fully independent joint inspection team at the borders. This will ensure that the aid screening process is dramatically accelerated without compromising security so that we can meet the desperately needed volume of humanitarian assistance. Second, define protection zone. Beyond hospitals, the United Nations must be immediately defined and verify clear humanitarian demilitarized zones. These zones must be absolutely respected by all parties and monitored by United Nations mission or international observers. Third, non-negotiable humanitarian law. We call upon all parties to immediately reaffirm their commitment to international humanitarian law, to protection of civilians wherever they are is non-negotiable and is the moral foundation of this body.
Distinguished delegates, given the increasingly intense dynamic of the discussion in the previous session, the presidency deems it necessary to take a short break. This break is intended to allow delegates to calm down, hold informal consultation, and prepare themselves before we continue with the next time on the agenda.
It's infuriating how some delegates can justify the blockade and the violence. How can they ignore the suffering of innocent civilians?
I agree. The situation in Gaza is no longer just a conflict, but a humanitarian crisis that requires a swift and decisive response from the international community. As long as humanitarian aid is blocked and attack continue, the suffering of civilians will not end. Indonesia believes that constructive dialogue needs to be repeated. But the first step that must be taken is to ensure the protection of civilians and stop all forms of attacks that exacerbate the situation.
Exactly, the international community must take a stronger stance because words alone are not enough. We need concrete action to stop the aggression.
We need to keep advocating for our relation that tackles the fundamental cause of this conflict. The Palestinian people are entitled to justice and peace.
I recognize the tension that has arisen, but we must take into account the complex dynamics of this matter. A balanced approach is essential to achieving long-term peace.
Hey, excuse me. We are committed to finding a balanced solution. Security concerns cannot be ignored, but we also recognize the need for humanitarian aid.
Israel's security is not debatable. We are open to dialogue, but we need assurance that our citizens will be safe from terrorist attacks.
And what about the safety of the Palestinian civilians? They are suffering every day under the blockade and the attack.
We are taking measures to minimize civilian casualties, but the threat from terrorist group is real and cannot be ignored.
We need a joint statement that will calm the situation if each delegation continues to maintain an extreme sentence. Our resolution will not pass the vote.
The tension was very high earlier. We need to cool down before returning to the courtroom. Otherwise, diplomatic conciliations will be divided into blocks that are difficult to unite.
I understand that many delegations disagree with our position. However, the United States also has a responsibility to protect regional stability. We are not trying to turn a blind eye to the suffering of the people of Gaza.
We need a real commitment from major country. There are many free statements made from podium. Both country action, the element of revolution, Gaza need action, no rhetoric.
Yeah, if you return to the meeting without a minimum agreement, the resolution that comes out will only be a formal document with no real impact. Turkey doesn't want the outcome of this meeting to be merely symbolic.
I see too much political calculation and too little empathy. With every passing hour, there are families losing their loved ones.
We need to ensure that this hearing considers the root cause of the problem, occupation, blood, and year of diplomacy, like that we are merely patching up the wounds.
We all have our own perspective. However, one thing is certain, there will be no peaceful resolution if narrative of violence continue to dominate.
I know most of the delegates disagree with us, but the rocket attacks on our people are real. We live in every day.
Indonesia does not ignore Israel's security concern. But now, security can be built on the suffering of others. The two must be balanced.
Delegates, due to the intensity of the ongoing debate, the presidency has authorized a short emergency consultation session. You may use this opportunity to find common ground before we return to the plenary.
Excuse me, Madam President, we need clarity. If this assembly push for a resolution that pressures Israel without addressing Hamas, it will not gain U.S. support. Balance is essential. Thank you, Madam.
Sorry, United States. Balance cannot be used to justify paralyzed. People in Gaza are dying now. Any resolution that avoids calling out excessive force is equally unacceptable.
Turkey is right. The humanity crisis cannot be settled if we cannot agree in wording. Let's agree the priority is stopping Kifila the dead.
Israel cannot agree to any text that undermine or right the security. We are ready to allow more humanitarian access if there are agreements against weapon smuggling.
Then, let us shape a clause focusing on humanitarian corridors monitored by Natural International observes. This benefits both sides.
If Israel agrees to the Mosque corridor, Saudi Arabia will support the relation draft.
This will consider it provided the final wording includes security assurance.
We see an opportunity to reach a compromise. If the resolution includes a clause on the cessation of violence in civilian areas and the establishment of supervised medical evacuation routes, Australia is prepared to support it. However, the terms must be clear and enforceable to the ground.
The Netherlands can accept such wording as long as there is a guarantee that monitoring will be carried out by an independent body. We also request that the resolution include a commitment from both parties to allow regular inspection to ensure compliance.
Malaysia demands that the forest protection of civilians be placed as the first priority in the resolution. Security is important, but the fate of civilians is more urgent. If that is clearly stated, Malaysia is ready to consider compromise.
Saudi Arabia can support ICROMIS only if free is identified for implementation. Too many United Nations relations have not been implemented. We must ensure the action begins in matter of days, not weeks.
We do not reject the deadline, but we must realize this. Israel can accept a deadline for opening access to aid, provided that the security screening mechanism is clarified.
Okay, and then let's agree. The humanitarian corridor must be open with 72 hours with United Nations monitors, and screening will be carried out by a neutral joint team. Turkey can accept that.
Okay, thank you. If the monitoring team is truly neutral and its authority is limited to verifying aid, the United States sees this draft as a middle ground that we can support.
Okay, the land agreed the humanity corridor will be prioritized further, critical empathy and vulnerable family. Qatar, when things written down, not just agree upon verbally.
We appreciate the effort of the Qatari mediator. The division into two clauses, aid security and civilian protection, is the best way to accommodate divergent concerns. Indonesia agrees to proceed with this proposal with the understanding that clause B must have strong and irrevocable language.
Okay, excuse me, all delegates. The United States accepts these two clause framework as the basis for a supportable resolution. We will work with our legal teams to ensure clause A, aid security, adequately reflects Israel's security concerns. This is a difficult compromise, but it is the best path towards immediate actions. That's it.
We welcome the acceptance of Clause B, which demands civilian protections. However, we remind all parties that if the final resolution fails to meet strict humanitarian standards, Turkey will continue to offset it in the plenary session. But for now, we agree to proceed with these two clauses.
As mediators, we observe a fragile diplomatic consensus in this group. We will assist the drafting team to ensure the text of clauses A and B do not contradict each other and align with international humanitarian law.
Thank you, delegates. Following this intense consultation session, I note a consensus in principle of the two-clause framework proposed by Qatar, with the support of Indonesia, Turkey, the United States, and Israel, as the basis for negotiating the final resolution text. Clause A focuses on aid monitoring, verification, and smuggling prevention. Clause B focuses on civilian protection, local ceasefire, confliction in corridors, and accountability. The editorial team will get to work immediately. This emergency consultative session is adjourned. We will return to the plenary session in 2 hours to vote and the receive final text. Distinguished delegates, before we proceed to the voting stage, I would like to present a technical summary based on the latest humanitarian report from the United Nations. This presentation is neutral and factual, serving as a basis for decision making. According to the latest verified data, over 1 million civilians in Gaza have been displaced. Several hospitals and essential facilities have sustained significant damage. Humanitarian agencies continue to report difficulties in delivering aid due to access, reconstruction, and destruction conditions. The report recommends the establishment of monitoring humanitarian corridors to allow safe entry of medical supplies, food, and clean water. I also remind all parties that they have obligation under international humanitarian law, including protecting civilians and facilitating humanitarian assistance. Any alleged violation must be assessed through independent and internationally recognized mechanisms. I encourage all delegates to take these impartial findings into account when assessing the draft resolution. A brief, fact-based question and answer session is now open.
Madam President, would monitor corridors require temporary pauses in hostilities?
Yes, only in designated area and under mutual agreement.
Madam President, referring to the United Nations report, can aid be distributed by sea and as alternative if land routes are blocked?
According to technical report, sea routes can be used if there are international security inspection and safe loading and unloading facilities. However, currently only a small portion of the infrastructure is ready.
Madam President, does the United Nations ensure that medical generators in Gaza hospital will receive priority full?
Yes, in the United Nations Logistic Coordination Draft, health facility, especially ICU units and operating rooms are placed as the first priority recipient of food.
Madam President, has the United Nations mentioned the level of threat to children? We need to concrete indicators for that for the draft resolution.
According to UNICEF, more than 40% of refugees are children. The risk of acute malnutrition has nearly doubled in the past month. This figure provides a strong basis for humanitarian priorities. Okay, thank you for your focus and factual question. This session is now closed. We will proceed to the next stage according to the agenda. Okay, we will now proceed to the vote on the resolution for an immediate cessation of violence and increased humanitarian assistance to Gaza. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, the resolution passes with a majority vote. Thank you, delegates, for your cooperation and commitment to global progress. As we conclude this session, I want to express my gratitude to all the delegates for their active participation and constructive dialogue. Together, we have taken significant steps toward a better future. This session is now adjourned.